As I am recording this video, it is the 1st of January, so Happy New Year everybody. With the new year, unfortunately, there has been a few updates to the rules around US-domiciled ETFs in Ireland. Up until now, there has been a pretty weird situation where you have the Vanguard ETF, so the VOOO, which is domiciled in the US, and the VUSA, which is domiciled in Dublin. Both of these look the exact same on paper. They track the performance of the S&P 500, but both of them have completely different tax rates. And that is what I'm going to be taking a look at in this video. I'm going to have a look at what the situation has been up until now and what the new situation is effective of the 1st of January 2022. So at least we will all be up to date going into the new year. Back in 2018, there were some EU regulations pushed through that made it very difficult for European investors to invest in US domiciled ETFs. These regulations required providers of investment products to give investors a key investor information document to help retail investors better understand what they are actually investing into. US issuers cannot actually develop these key information documents because included in these documents you need to have a section that shows the likely performance of that investment. So kind of like a forecast of how it is going to perform in the future based on how it has done in the past. And under US legislation, it is actually illegal to make these kinds of forecasts, and therefore they cannot create these key investor information documents. The result of all of this was that US domiciled ETFs got removed from common brokerages used around Europe, such as DEGIRO and Trading 212. So the revenue guidance up to now on US domiciled ETFs is that they accepted that these were outside of the normal regime of investment funds, and were therefore subject to capital gains tax at 33%. And you are also entitled to use your annual exemption of 1270 for capital gains, and to offset any losses that you make on these ETFs against the potential profits that you have on your other investments. This was far better than the tax situation for Irish and EU domiciled ETFs, which were taxed at 41% exit tax. And because these are taxed under exit tax as opposed to capital gains, you also do not get your annual exemption, and you also have to deal with things such as deemed disposal, which forces you to pay tax on unrealized gains even if you haven't sold any of your investments after 8 years. Along with that, if you made any losses on these ETFs, they're pretty much gone. You cannot just offset them against any profits that you make on your other investments. The result of this favourable tax treatment for the US domiciled ETFs made people try and find a way to invest in them, even if it meant signing up for US brokerages with international accounts. In September of 2021, the Revenue Commissioner issued new guidance on these US domiciled ETFs. And so effective on the 1st of January 2022, they are going to be basically taxed the exact same as Irish and EU domiciled ETFs. This will mean that your income and your gains on these ETFs are now going to be taxed at 41%, and any losses that you make are not going to be available for offset against your realised profits. Basically, the tax treatment of European and US domiciled ETFs have now been aligned. They did leave one small little loophole open. So basically what they said here is if it can be shown that a US ETF does not have a comparable legal structure and generally is not subject to comparable regulatory oversight as an Irish or EU offshore fund, then it can be treated as being outside of the offshore fund regime. And in that situation, you would be going back to paying capital gains tax on those investments as opposed to paying exit tax. However, the onus is completely on the taxpayer to prove that this is the case. So that is going to take a lot of analysis for a retail investor, and is probably beyond what most people would be able to do without some sort of professional help. And the cost of professional help will probably put people off from even trying. If you are new to investing and are planning on putting some money into an ETF that tracks something like the S&P 500, then one of the best brokerages you can go with are DEGIRO. I have a link below in the description section that will get you €50 of free commissions when you sign up using that link. That is pretty much it for my update today. I suppose what the revenue have done here is just provided a bit more clarity around the whole ETF situation. It was quite difficult anyway to invest in these US domiciled ETFs, but it kind of closes off an opportunity, I suppose, for people who like to invest in these ETFs and try and still get around the whole deemed disposal rules. So thanks very much for watching. If you are new around here, please make sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with my latest videos.